And good afternoon, everybody, or should I say good evening, as twilight has hit us here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we get ready for our fifth race of the season of the Almond Joy Series. We're getting ready for tonight's Heads Up Georgia 250 under the lights at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 33 laps of racing on tap for tonight's event. Carmichael Jazin lines up on the pole for the first time in his career in the Almond Joy Series alongside of the new points leader. Didn't think it could be done with the start that Matthew Dallio had to the season. 2 straight victories at Daytona and Rockingham, UK, but Benny Watson went to victory lane last week at Bristol Dirt and as a consequence took the points lead over from Matthew Dallio, and he will start on the outside of the front row for this race. Then you got Grayson Acavito alongside of Morris Studemeyer Jr. in the 88. Completing your top 5 is Caitlin Tsang, the runner-up finisher in the Daytona race a few weeks ago. We are going to be getting set here, but we'll give you a look at the points coming into this race. We've got Benny Watson, as mentioned, as the points leader. Matthew Dallio has now dropped to second, 34 points out of the points lead. Nick Gunther remains in third in standings. Jonathan Rains has been on quite a run as of late. He's jumped up to fourth in points. Paul Minnick is in fifth. Sixth place is DJ Curtis. Caitlin Tsang is seventh in points. How about Mitchell Carter? Great run for the 52 this season, up to eighth. Elijah Gordon is in ninth, and our pole sitter, Carmichael Jazin, is 10th in the points coming into this race. Let's go down trackside and get the command to fire 'em up.
Drivers, start your engine!
And of course, this season we have a kind of unusual chase, 12-driver chase this season. And right now, as things stand, the current race winners all are inside the top 30 in the points and would make the chase for the championship. And they, of course, being our winner of the first 2 races, Matthew Dallio, our winner from Las Vegas, Zachariah Hall, our winner from last week at Bristol Dirt, Benny Watson. So those 3, right now as they stand, are locked into the chase for the championship. And Benny Watson, is there something wrong with the 89? Apparently there is. He is pulled down to the inside of the racetrack. The points leader and outside of the front row driver, Benny Watson, is going to be, looks like, coming to pit road. Not certain what the issue is on his machine, but looks like he's the only one that's having some issues here, and I don't see smoke coming out from underneath his race car, so maybe there's just like a loose wheel or something. He may be able to get back on the racetrack, but they're going to have to hurry, get him out there before the field comes around and laps him. Not a good start to the night for the points leader, Benny Watson, at all. But it doesn't change the pole sitter, Carmichael Jazin. He's going to lead him down to the green flag, and now you got Junior Motorsports 1, 2, 3 for the start of this race. As Jazin brings him down, and the heads up Georgia 250 is green. We'll jump back in a moment and see if Benny Watson is going to be able to actually continue the race, or if this is going to be a DNF for the points leader coming into this race. If so, that's really going to shake the points up again. As if Bristol last week wasn't a point shaker, and we got a battle for the lead. Grayson Acavito to the inside of his teammate, looking to lead the first lap. Caitlin Tsang going to try and challenge at the line. Can't do it. And I believe I just heard Benny Watson leaving pit road. Indeed he is, but he's going to need a caution. He's going to need to stay ahead of these leaders. Right now the leaders are going 3 wide. That is Eric Hayden down at the bottom of the racetrack on Caitlin Tsang. He's got Ryan George and Nick Johnson right behind him. And the leaders are slowly beginning to reel in Benny Watson to try and put him off the lead lap. Already they're 3 wide. Back around, I think that was the, not sure if that was like around the 10th position. It was just outside of the top 10, I think. Seeing Davey Johnson there, car in the middle, I think. That is Joseph Romero, and Morris Studemeyer Jr. up there on the high side. Now looks like they've settled out to double wide. Battle on for the lead just behind. The car just on the tail of the lead lap. Benny Watson, Ryan George to the point. Getting pushed there by Nick Johnson, and now Benny Watson will fall an early lap down to the leaders. And they're 3 wide again. This time that's for the 6th position. Carmichael Jazin, Seth Cole, and Caitlin Tsang, with Cody Smart right there in the mix as well as Brooke Allen in the 0. So the driver that this could benefit, or 2 drivers that this could benefit, with the fact that right now Benny Watson is currently 40th in the standings, and he is 1 lap down to the leaders. would be Matthew Dallio and Nick Gunther. They are 34 and 35 points respectively out of the top position. Let's see where either one of them are running, which one is running the highest of those two, as Nick Johnson shows the way. And oh shoot, look out back here. That was a close call. Richard Johnson is free falling. Oh, there's something might be wrong with the 93. Or that's not the 93, that's the 90 rather of Julio Cesar rather. And yeah, he's coming to pit road. Something amiss on that machine, as everybody really stacked up trying to get around him, and an unscheduled pit stop now for Julio Cesar. But going back to my point, there's Matthew Dallio way back here at the tail end of the field. Nick Gunther running a couple cars ahead. So right now Nick Gunther would be in the driver's seat. And where is the 46 of Jonathan Rains? He's about maybe 10-15 cars ahead of Nick Gunther. So Jonathan Rains could be in a good spot right now as well, as they are 3 wide, 2 rows deep up here. That's Jeremy Jones, Zachariah Hall, Brooke Allen up there at the first 3 wide situation. Then Davey Johnson, Carmika Jazin, and the lap car Benny Watson in the second one here. And the field is definitely spread out. No doubt about that, as we got a battle on for second place 3 wide. That's James Qualls down to the inside of Caitlin Sang. All this going on behind the current race leader, the 46 of Nick Johnson, who's of course looking for some redemption since what happened at Rockingham, UK. He started on the pole, had issues, ended up, I think it was a header problem for him, and retired out of the race. Never even got to take the green flag at Rockingham, UK after having the fastest car in qualifying. So trying to mount a comeback here, and James Qualls right behind him there in the 27. Qualls going to reel him in, and we may have a battle for the lead heading here down into turn number 1. Qualls going to try and look to the inside, and he does get to the left rear, so he will at least be alongside Nick Johnson coming down out of turn number 2. Cody Smart now moving by Eric Hayden for third. Caitlin Sang there, as well as Hayden's teammate Jeremy Jones in the 19. And Qualls, nice move out of turn 4, easily clears for the lead, and he will lead a lap here tonight at Atlanta. Up ahead I'm hearing an engine, and that is the car of Julio Cesar, who had to make an unscheduled pit stop. I believe he is currently scored off the lead lap. Indeed he is. So 2 cars already off the lead lap, all still running though. Benny Watson and Julio Cesar in 39th and 40th as we currently sit. Kind of hard to tell whether we're under the caution or under the green on some of the camera angles here. Out of turns 3 and 4, that green light appears to be yellow. You have to wait till you get to the front straightaway and into turn 1 to realize it's actually green, as Nick Johnson is going to go back to the point. Here comes Caitlin Sang. Now keep in mind, I mentioned that Nick Johnson wants redemption. How about Caitlin Sang looking for redemption? She almost locked herself up an early spot in the chase for the championship with a win at Daytona, but missed out by half a car length to Matthew Dallio in a photo finish. So Caitlin Sang, who comes into this race 7th in the point standings, looking to get her first win of the season. Jeremy Jones, Cody Smart right there as well, and they are going to have to deal with traffic again. That is Julio Cesar, 1 lap down already, but is up to speed. We're still trying to get word of why the 90 car came to pit road, and from what we're understanding, it sounds like it was a loose wheel. And also, as far as the 89 of Benny Watson is concerned, apparently battery issues for him, electrical issues. Tried to switch over to battery 2, could not, had to come to pit road, and they had to fix it for him manually, and that, as a result, has lost him a lap. And could consequently lose him the points lead heading to next week as well. As Caitlin Sang, the leader, trying to get around Leon Alvarez, or not Leon Alvarez, I don't know why I keep thinking the 90 is Leon Alvarez. The 90 is not Leon Alvarez, the 90 is Julio Cesar. I apologize for that error that I keep making. Now, I'm noticing a couple drivers who have popped up inside the top 10. You've got Seth Cole there. He's been in the top 10 for most of this race. But how about Zachariah Hall, who went to victory lane 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas Motor Speedway? Now up here having a great run. Zachariah Hall outside the top 10 in the point standings, but still inside the top 30 in points, which means his win at Las Vegas would lock him up a spot in the chase for the championship as things run right now. And now Zachariah Hall trying to get himself up towards the top 10 in the points. Right now, solidly running in the 9th position. And we may have a battle up here momentarily. Yes, we did. We actually had a switch for the lead. Nick Johnson getting back around Caitlin Sang. So These two right now battling back and forth for the position, and now there's a lap machine, 2 laps down rather. The car of Julio Cesar separating second place from the battle for third between James Qualls and Cody Smart. When they come around here, we will be now halfway through this race, hitting the back straightaway. 16.5 laps completed of 33 scheduled laps, and these drivers are more than likely at some point going to have to make green flag pit stops as well. As the battle continues on for the lead again, Nick Johnson has it, Caitlin Sang wants it. If they battle, that could bring third place on back to their back door once again, as Qualls now forges a hold to the inside of Julio Cesar. He'll clear the lap machine. Cody Smart and Jeremy Jones following in his tire tracks, trying to do the same. Battle on for the lead again. Caitlin Sang to the inside of Nick Johnson. As things run right now, inside of the top 10, only one driver is a former winner this season. That's Zachariah Hall in 9th. So the top 8 right now all would be a first-time winner this season. And Sang will clear for the lead out of turn 2. Here comes James Qualls. He and Cody Smart had a big run through turn 2. And Qualls now will challenge Nick Johnson for the second position. James Qualls, one of his teammates in the Hershey's Cup Series, Andrew Davis, will be making his rookie debut in the Hershey's Cup Series race here tomorrow evening. So James Qualls, I'm certain, has gotten some good material, some good notes of knowing how to get around this racetrack from his teammate. And I'm certain that with the run he's having tonight, he'll pass on some more information to his teammate, Andrew Davis, to try and help Andrew get his best finish that he can in his rookie debut in the Hershey's Cup Series. Right now, Caitlin Sang has checked out on the battle for second. It was 0.2 of a second back last time. This time, it's now grown to 0.3. Neither lane really able to move forward between James Qualls and Nick Johnson. Johnson trying to use the outside line out of 2, and looks like maybe it'll work, and yes, it will. He will clear James Qualls and go back to the runner-up spot. Qualls back to 3rd. Jeremy Jones now there in the 4th position, as he got his way past Cody Smart for that spot. And now Nick Johnson can try and set his sights on maybe trying to reel back in Caitlin Sang. As soon as I say that, though, James Qualls back to the bottom. The best battle going on for the second position here at Atlanta. And it's allowing Caitlin Sang, for the moment, to step out. Look at there, Nick Johnson gets a great run into the corner, and he gets a good run off the corner, which has been allowing him on that high side to keep the second position. James Qualls seems to be a little bit better on the straightaways, and that's where he draws even back up to the door of the 42. Now, while they're battling for the position and slightly losing some ground to Caitlin Sang, they are not completely losing touch with the race leader. And Johnson, I thought he might have cleared Qualls, not this time. Qualls going to hang on at least for now. Now Nick Johnson gets the big run out of turn 4, and he'll keep the second position once again. And that time, surprisingly enough, they actually gained some time on Caitlin Sang, too, even while battling for second. It might have been that run out of turn 4 that actually helped Nick Johnson to close the gap up between himself and Caitlin. And now James Qualls again to the inside of Nick Johnson. Oh, and this time he got a nice run, and he will clear for that position. James Qualls beautifully timing that move there into turn 3. Nothing Nick Johnson could do. Couldn't even use the high side to battle back, and they're going to go 3 wide behind for that 4th position. The lap car of Julio Cesar playing a factor there, taking Jeremy Jones and Nick Johnson 3 wide, as now Caitlin Sang shows the way over James Qualls. Cody Smart now into the 3rd position, and when we hit the stripe this time, we will have a total, if my calculations are correct, of 9 laps to go. Can Qualls reel in Caitlin Sang? That time he closed the gap up by about 6/100ths. But he's also starting to get reeled in by 3rd and 4th place Cody Smart and Jeremy Jones. Nick Johnson has dropped back to the 5th position now. And the question still is, will these drivers have to be pitting? Oh, James Qualls looked rather slow there out of turn 4. Looked like he almost stacked up 3rd, 4th on back. Maybe not getting off turn 4 quite as well as he would like. But he did manage to still close up a little bit of ground between himself and Caitlin Sang, as now Cody Smart and Jeremy Jones and Nick Johnson, they're all nose to tail for 2nd on back through 5th. Nick Johnson now going for the 4th spot. He gets to the inside of Jeremy Jones. And yeah, it looks like coming off of turn 4, James Quall's car gets really tight. He loses a lot of ground, has to decrease his speed a little to make the corner. And the gap between himself and Caitlin Sang remains status quo, about 29 100ths or 2/10. Well, practically 3/10 of a second. And I think I just heard another car up ahead, a couple of cars. That's Kev Shearer, Angel Navarro, a couple of Toyotas. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be reeled in by the race leaders before this race is over, but if they are, that could play a huge factor into who's going to win this race. James Quall still hanging on to second, but Nick Johnson is fighting his way back up to the front. He got by Jeremy Jones for 4th. He's now trying to take 3rd from Cody Smart in the 22. And you can see that James Qualls has still not been able to close up the gap between himself and Caitlin Sang. As a matter of fact, he lost some time the last time around. And let's see if the gap grows this time with 4 laps remaining. Make that 5 laps to go, I should say, and the gap did indeed grow. But Nick Johnson did not make the move on Cody Smart. Smart hangs on to the 3rd spot, at least for the moment. And I keep hearing those engines just up ahead of Angel Navarro and Kev Shearer just on the tail end of the lead lap, and as the laps tick quicker, let's see, 07 at the line, drivers on the tail end of the lead lap are in the middle of turns 1 and 2, so yeah, I would really be surprised if they encounter them before the checkered flag waves, but then again, you never know. 3.5 laps to go as Caitlin Sang down the back straightaway by a good 3/10 over James Qualls. Pit stops are going to happen in the closing stages. Are you kidding me? Caitlin Sang's giving up the race lead to come to pit road with 3 laps to go. Now the question is, can anybody from this lead group make it on fuel? James Qualls now inherits the lead, and you can see the sparks flying out of the exhaust system. That means he's running low on the fuel. Can he stretch it? Cody Smart tries to go to pit road and gets wrecked! Takes out Julio Cesar with him. The caution flag is out. Oh, look out, look out, look out. Oh, Brooke Allen, Elijah Gordon's involved. Jonathan Zorlin, as they come flying in. They're still not slowing down. They're still wrecking. Jordan Lopez in it. DJ Curtis. Matthew Dallio's involved. So is a Morris Studemeyer Jr. Big wreck. Oh, they're still wrecking on the front straightaway. Davey Johnson, Chris Dollerton, Benny Watson gets nailed by Nick Gunther. It is pandemonium here in the closing stages of this race. Jeffrey Finguy has been collected. And I don't know who cycles as the leader. I think it's still James Qualls. It is indeed. And the white flag will be displayed this time. But oh my goodness. What was looking like it was just going to be pit stops in the closing stages turns into utter calamity. Cody Smart was trying to come to pit road from the 2nd position, but Nick Johnson was to his inside and just hooks the 22 around, and then nobody slowed down. And the most ironic thing about all of this is the top 3 in the point standings were involved in that. Benny Watson, Matthew Dallio, and Nick Gunther all got involved in those incidents that took place between turn 4 over to the middle of the front straightaway at the start-finish line. And this could be the saving grace for these leaders to now throw it into clutch and try and save the fuel to get around. What an amazing turn of events here in the closing stages of a race that looked like it was going to go clean and green to the end. Little did we know we were going to have a massive pile-up from turn 4 all the way over just past the start-finish line on the D-shaped front straightaway. But James Qualls managed to stay out a little bit longer. He got the caution, and I think he may just have enough fuel to get to the start-finish line. He just has to maintain the pace speed. And James Qualls in the number 27 car is going to bring it out of turn number 4. He couldn't run down Caitlin Sang, but he stayed out, played the pit strategy, and it will pay dividends. James Qualls will win his first race of the Almond Joy Series here tonight at Atlanta. The Heads Up Georgia 250 belongs to James Qualls and maybe a spot in this season's Almond Joy Series chase for the championship. What a difference a lap makes. My goodness. We've got to look back at a replay of all that went down here. We will show you your full finish results in just a minute, but we are going to step aside real quick and get a replay of everything that transpired in the closing stages of this race. So we have to jump all the way back here to turn number 2 down the back straightaway because you can see Nick Johnson is to the inside of Cody Smart. So I don't know if this was Cody Smart not realizing he wasn't clear, or if this was an error on the spotter's part saying, come down, you're clear. Because you can see, clearly, the 42 is right there. And not only that, but Nick Johnson's going to drive it into the corner pretty hard as well, which puts him right to the inside of the left rear quarter panel of Cody Smart. Yeah, Smart just did not time it correctly, and he gets into the right front of Nick Johnson. Nothing Nick Johnson could do. I mean, he had momentum going into the corner, and boy, a bad night turns worse for Julio Cesar. Gets collected up here with Cody Smart, and then here's where a lot of the big issues are going to take place. This is a banked racetrack. A car is going to slide down said banked racetrack, and a lot of drivers trying to get everything they can here in the closing stages, just not deciding to let up. As a matter of fact, Cody Smart actually drove away from the incident. It's actually Julio Cesar that's going to get the clobbering here in just a few moments. And I believe the first car that's going to nail him is going to be, I think it was, Brooke Allen right here trying to move up. Cannot do it. There's Elijah Gordon involved. 9th in the point standings, I should mention. John Andrews got a piece of it. There's Jonathan Zorlin involved. Up on the high side there, involving with Brooke Allen. That is Jeffrey Finguy in the 20. Don't know if Jay Jefferson got a piece of it or not there in the 28. And then here comes a second group trying to drive their way through the smoke. There's Jordan Lopez in the 51. Never slows up. Nails Elijah Gordon. There's a Morris Studemeyer Jr. Flips Jordan Lopez over. DJ Curtis going to get involved right there. There's Matthew Dallio in the 78. I guess he didn't really get a whole lot of damage, did Dallio. He got through that incident with fairly little contact. But look at the 51 of Jordan Lopez. Up and over, end over end. Actually barrel rolls over the back of Jonathan Zorlin's car. And the car is going to come to rest, I believe, on its roof. Boy. And then up here, we had something happen. Oh, there's a 22 in the grass. Did he cause the incident on the front straightaway? Oh, no, he didn't cause it. He was coming to pit road, and Davey Johnson, I don't know what he was doing down the apron. I guess he was avoiding the wreck over in turn 4. He doesn't want to pit. He's going to come back on the racetrack, and he just takes out the 22 car who was down there legally getting ready to come to pit road. And that's going to spin Cody Smart around, and I believe Davey Johnson, oh wow, look at the contact right there as they nearly hit the commitment cone. I think Davey Johnson in the 05 is going to come back up into traffic, and there's where Benny Watson's going to get involved right there. Going to sideswipe the 89. Watson, boy, immediately black smoke comes out from underneath his Racing with Jesus Camaro. So that takes the points leader out. And then, again, much like happened in turn number 4, drivers not going to be slowing down. They're going to come into view, and I know that Chris Dollerton was one driver involved I saw here. Nick Gunther another. We'll see where they get involved. I think it might actually all be down to the 89 of Benny Watson, but we'll see. And it's surprising the hard licks that were taken here. Oh, here comes Mike Becker. He gets through, but Dollerton does not. Nails Davey Johnson. Car actually goes up and does a wheelie. Does Chris Dollerton's number 43. Paul Minnick just barely gets through, and then you're about to see as Benny Watson gets ready to leave the scene of the accident. Third in the standings, Nick Gunther, I guess didn't realize that the 89 was not up to speed, was going to try and get past. As there you see Jeffrey Finguy all crunched up on his Reese's number 20. And where's the 11 of Gunther? Well, I don't know where he's at. He's quite a ways back still. There he is on the high side of DJ Curtis. Carmichael Jassen's going to go down to the bottom of the racetrack, able to avoid Benny Watson. Watson, you'll see right there, still on the high side. Oh, and then Watson had to stop for Chris Dollerton. That's what that was. He's trying to get around the high side. Actually makes a little bit more contact with the 43. 43 teleports to pit road. And then here comes the 11. If I can get to him in time. And there he is. Yeah, just runs into the back of Benny Watson. Just couldn't slow up. Nick Gunther was actually able to get through the whole incident back through turn number 4, but could not get through this. And look at how the whole front of that race car is gone. Look at this. See if we get the camera angle that'll show you that. Look at that. The whole splitter area under the grill is gone. Man, that's a hard lick. And that is the caution flag. You see the flagman waving the yellow. That's the caution flag that gave the win over to James Qualls for his first win of the season. So let's take a look here at the official standings after what took place here in the closing stages of this race. James Qualls wins. Nick Johnson gets second. Jeremy Jones third. Seth Cole will get fourth. And Eric Hayden will complete the top 5. Cody Hagan will be racing the Hershey's Cup Series race here tomorrow night, and he gets 6th, so good experience for him. John Andrews gets 7th. Connor Breton, another solid outing for him, so he'll get 8th. 9th for Tyler Markle, who, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the qualifying results. I think he started 41st. No, 39th rather, but next to last regardless. Same there for John Andrews, both those drivers. Nice job starting in the final row, and they end up in 7th and 9th for the finish. And Grayson Acavito will line up in the 10th position. Mike Becker finishes 11th. Richard Johnson gets 12th. Ryan George in 13th, 14th William Brock. Jonathan Rains, it'll be interesting to see where he is in the point stands after this race because he was the only driver outside of the top 4 that really didn't get involved in the wreck. Zachariah Hall will get 16th. Caitlin Sang had to pit with about 2 laps to go. Finishes 17th. Jay Jefferson 18th. 19th for Jesse Turner, rather. Carmichael Jazz, the pole sitter, finishes in 20th. And the rest of the cars to finish on the lead lap were Paul Minnick, Cody Smart, Angel Navarro, and Matthew Dallio. Out of the race with getting involved in the wreck was Jeffrey Finguy and Amari Studemeyer Jr. They'll finish 25th and 26th. You got Mitchell Carter and Kev Shearer finishing a lap down along with Joseph Romero. They'll get 27th, 28th, and 29th. And then all these drivers got involved in the wreck and retired out of the race. And they included DJ Curtis, Nick Gunther, Chris Dollerton, Davey Johnson, Jonathan Zorlin, Brooke Allen, Elijah Gordon, Jordan Lopez, as well as the points leader coming to this race, Benny Watson, Julio Cesar, and Colin Denton actually retired out of the race due to a header issue. I did not see that. Apparently mechanical issues plaguing more than one driver this evening. Denton will finish in the 40th position. So that's going to do it. We've had 5 races, 4 different race winners now. It now is Matthew Dallio, Benny Watson, Zachariah Hall, and James Qualls, who would all be situated in this season's chase for the championship as things stand right now. Will we see more drivers join them? You better believe we will. Will we see repeat winners? More than likely. But that's going to do it here for tonight's race from Atlanta. James Qualls with the victory, being able to make it on fuel and getting a very timely late caution in this race. Hope you guys enjoyed the Heads Up Georgia 250. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We'll now show you your point standings heading into next week's race for the Almond Joy Series. We'll cap off this week's race weekend with the Hershey's Cup Series Folds of Honor 500. That'll be coming up next here on the Estuary Sports channel. Offline racing at its best.